Based on my understanding of the learning process, and I'm not going by the actual textbook definition, but the actual real life process of learning things. My understanding is that you can learn by instructions or, from learning materials, being taught something. You can go and research something for yourself. And you can also learn from other people's wisdom, and then you can learn from experience. Now, experience is then divided into two categories. One is listening to the experiences of others, or let me rephrase that, my apologies. There's controlled experiences where it's set up for you to experience something. For example, if you're learning how to drive a truck, if you're learning how to do lawn service, if you're learning how to screen customers or sales techniques, you're learning how to type. But then there's experiences where you have to learn the hard way. And I want to give a specific example. And I'm going to give an example of a young man and then a grown man. There was a young man last school year who was in an advantageous position socially, but it was for the wrong reasons. So this young man had extra attention from females because of some things he had done and some places he had gone. He was a new kid at the school. He and another young man, as a matter of fact. And they had a bit of edge and a bit of fear factor to them. So I saw the reactions from the other students early on, and I tried to explain to these young men. I pulled them aside and said, hey, look now, you have a form of power and influence over the other students. And power and influence is addictive and it's very, very hard for a young man to handle. But because you're here for a reason and for a certain amount of time, you taking advantage of that could be costly to you, because it could shape the amount of time in which you have to be in a situation that you don't want to be in. Well, lo and behold, these young men they started to understand the influence that they were wielding, and they started to become addicted to it, and they began to use it in a manner that it's almost like Pac-Man. It's like they just couldn't stop eating. Then they added another person to their group, and they went overboard with it. Well, group members number 2 and number 3 started to realize, okay, and this is what you need to understand about learning by experience. They started to realize the consequence that they could experience, or the consequences that could result by pushing the issue with their social influence. Group members number 2 and number 3 slowed down and backed down. Number 1 just kept on pushing the issue. Well, group members number 2 and number 3, one by one, eventually transferred to other schools, and now group member number 1 is by himself. He doesn't have his strength in numbers anymore, and now some of the advantages he had because of the traits of the other group members, he didn't have those anymore. So he had to change up his way of carrying himself socially real quick, and it was nothing like the first time. So not only did he lose his influence, other individuals at the school started exercising their influence over him in a very, very negative way, causing him to have to change his whole demeanor. But now, a situation that he had going on outside of school per se ended up lasting longer. And now he's got to face some consequences because he made the wrong choices. So he learned by experience. You know what, Mr. Renaissance Man, he actually came and told me this year. You know what, Mr. Renaissance Man, I should have listened to you. My group has gone on about their life and they're doing some different things now. And I have to reap some consequences long term for a few months. And I have some responsibilities I need to take care of, and I have other places I need to be. And I made my own life hard. See, he didn't listen to wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And you have to understand for yourself, if somebody is giving you information that by all accounts and research, especially when you hear more than one wise person saying the same thing, because that's when it stings. Kind of like that video I made about how when things go wrong and you're dealing with the wrong people and being in the wrong places because you knew you shouldn't have been there. But this young man had the chance well ahead of time to avoid these situations. I'm also going to give you another example of an adult. Am I wealthy? No, but do I have ways to get things done, and do I look ahead and plan ahead, and do I have some provisions for different situations? Yes, absolutely. And I was explaining this to someone I know and presenting this person with some opportunities. But extra opportunities in many cases require extra work. Nobody's going to just give you anything. If you're willing to put in extra work to get those extra opportunities, then you have extra benefits. But in addition to having extra benefits, you have more benefits in case something goes wrong. And when we're talking about adult men and more chances to make money, if something goes wrong, what if you get sick? What if you have more things you need to pay for than what you planned? 2 is 1, 1 is none. If you have one of anything, it will fail you eventually, and you'll need another one, whatever that may be. So said person decided not to take advantage of said opportunities, because I presented more than one opportunity and I got tired of talking because this person wasn't listening. Well, this person went through some hard times and some lack because they had to learn from experience. You know what? Having some extra, having backup plans, having more than one opportunity matters. Those type of experiences where you got some wisdom, but you chose to experience what the opposite may be, those hurt. They either hurt because of some type of physical pain experienced, financial pain, maybe even spiritual, because there's a such thing as wisdom. It's laid out in the Bible for you if you choose to go that route. And there's consequences by not obeying wisdom and having to learn by experience. If you have to learn by experience, make sure it's the type of experience that is positive, and especially that's in a controlled arena or in a controlled manner. The experience of not following instruction and not following wisdom is no fun. As a man, it keeps you up at night. It stresses you out. It can ruin your health, maybe even ruin your relationships with other people. Think about it. Learn by wisdom, learn by instruction, and learn from positive experiences. Don't gamble with negative experiences.